Hey guys, as most of you already know, there's going to be a comic book for the Black Ops 4 storyline, and it's going to help explain how our new 4 characters have met. The Black Ops 4 Zombies storyline is based around one of our characters, and that's Scarlett Rhodes, and she is out to solve her father's mysterious disappearance. Her father, Alistair Rhodes, which you can see on the front of the first comic book, he's in the back holding the staff, has apparently vanished, and he was on the trail of the occult when this happened, and it was around the year 1910. This first comic is going to be released September 5th, so that's just right around the corner. And just recently, they've posted a preview of this comic. The comic has 32 pages total, and they've released the first 5 pages, so that's really exciting. I'll click on it here and read you guys the very beginning of this story. The first page reads that they are in Constantinople, Turkey. It's September 1910, so that's 2 years before our characters end up on the Titanic ship in 1912. You see 2 vehicles coming out of a tunnel, and there's 2 guys talking. The guy on the left says, "We don't have time for this. LeBeau and the buyer are waiting." It looks like while they're driving, they pull up on a vehicle that's broken down, and the driver questions if it's a trap. You can see the green vehicle right there that is broken down, and the guy in the passenger seat says, "Can you get around it?" And the driver says, "Us maybe, but the truck won't be able to follow unless you want the package rolling down the hill." And he says, "Shit." The guy in the passenger seat gets out. Clearly, he's paranoid. He's got a gun. They've got some cargo that they're protecting, and he says, "What the hell are you doing?" In the next scene, this is Alistair Rhodes. This is Scarlett's father. This is the first time we're seeing him, and he says, sorry, I seem to be having some trouble." So the broken down vehicle belongs to Alistair Rhodes, and it looks like he might be creating some kind of roadblock to keep these guys from going through. On the next page, you see that guy that was in the passenger seat with the gun respond back to the driver to let him know what's going on, and he says, "It's just an old man. Tell them I'm going to take care of it." In the next scene, you see the driver of that vehicle behind them tell some people in the back of the truck that there could be trouble and to keep on guard. Then you see what's actually going on here. You've got some guys in the back protecting some very precious looking cargo. It looks like it's in a big crate. The guys look pretty tough and pretty worried, like something's about to go down, and one of the guys says, "I don't like this at all." The next scene cuts back to that guy with the gun that's talking to Alistair, and Alistair says, "I'm afraid it picked the worst possible location to fail, and I myself was never mechanically inclined." The guy with the gun responds saying, "I still prefer horses, but perhaps we can get this started." Then it cuts back to the guys in the back of the truck that's protecting the crate, and they're getting kind of nervous and suspicious, and one of them says, "I don't like this." The other guy says, "You said we were supposed to stay back here." He responds saying, "I'm not stopping you, but if we don't deliver the package, LeBeau will have our hides." Now, we don't know who LeBeau is, but it sounds like it could be their boss or somebody that has a lot of money and power and could be definitely very threatening. Then in the next scene, you see one of the guys from in the back of the truck peek out, and you see somebody else speak, and they say, "I think perhaps." And then it cuts to the next scene, and you see one of our new characters. This is Bruno, and he grabs this guy's head and throws him to the ground, and he says, "You have other things to worry about." The other 2 guys in the back of the truck realize, yep, this is definitely a trap, and they're like, "Stop him," and they start shooting. And while that fight is breaking out, you see Alistair starting the fight with the guy with a gun, and he said, "I guess we're starting then." It looks like Alistair smashes that guy's head with the hood of that vehicle and then starts the fight with the driver. The driver says, "Mr. Dillon, did you?" And then before he can finish his sentence, Alistair punches him and says, "Apologies for this, but needs must." The scene cuts back to the driver of the truck with the crate, and he's leaning out the window shooting at Alistair. Then you see Alistair running for his life saying, "I'm far too old for this, although perhaps there is no right age for this." And you can see the 2 guys that were in that first vehicle driving that he knocked out on the ground. Next thing you see is the driver of that truck threatening Bruno, saying, "You're not taking the package, all you're getting is bullets." Then Bruno proceeds to pick up the truck and push it off of the edge, saying, "Enough of that." Then you see that truck rolling down the hill and people flying out of it, and then one of the guys that was in the back of the truck is trying to grab that crate. And somehow Bruno knows this guy, and he says, "Hello, Simone. I would suggest that perhaps we do this the easy way." Obviously, Simone knows that Bruno's a big threat, so he gives them the package, and he walks off and says, "Merci." Then Bruno puts the crate in the back seat and jumps in the car with Alistair, and they take off. And he says, "I certainly hope that whatever we stole from them is worth the effort, Alistair, because I believe my former associates are coming." Alistair asks, "How many would you say?" Bruno says, "I guess I would say all of them." And then you see the scene of like several vehicles chasing after them. Then you see one of the guys chasing them on a motorcycle shooting at them, and Bruno says, "He's smart, this one. He's shooting to disable the car, not to kill us." Alistair says, "Yes, well, it's working. I don't suppose you can do anything about without him, could you? Then Bruno proceeds to kick the guy off of the motorcycle, and this is the last page of the preview. There's not anything more. We're gonna have to wait until September 5th. But so far we know Constantinople, Turkey is where it started out in 1910. Alistair has stolen some precious cargo, and now they are on the run from this group of men that Bruno used to be associated with. They're also probably going to be in a lot of trouble from this LeBeau guy, and that guy's probably going to be after them as well. So lots of questions. What's in the crate, and what does Alistair want with it? Who is LeBeau, and who are these guys that Bruno used to be associated with? Is it possible that what is in the crate is the staff that we saw on the front of the comic book? It is a very long looking crate, so it might fit it pretty well. Also, it looks like they have revealed the cover and description to the second Zombies comic for BO4. The cover shows Shaw, one of our new characters, and on the back left, that is Alistair. Now, all our 4 characters know Alistair and have some connection to him, and these comic books are going to be explaining all the connections between everyone. Obviously, comic book 1 is explaining how Bruno knows Alistair, and then comic book 2 is going to explain how Shaw knows him. In the description with comic 2 with Shaw reads, tempted by the possibility of discovering an ancient depository of humanity's greatest secrets, a brilliant chemist, Shaw, with a troubled past, travels across the globe in search of forbidden knowledge. Unfortunately, his past is coming too. This one's going to be released on August 3rd, so it's going to be cool. We're going to have 2 comic books out before BO4 even releases to get a little bit of information on the backstory. I'm going to guess that at the beginning of November, they're going to be releasing the 3rd one, and it's probably going to be talking about Diego and his connection with Alistair. But personally, I'm really excited about these comic books and having a brand new story. It seems like it's going to be more clean, more easily understood, and a lot of people are going to be able to keep up with it. To say that the previous zombie storyline for the Ether was complicated is an understatement. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next video.